welcome to this week's edition of the Side Splitters. My name is Lyle.
And my name is Andy.
And our goal tonight is to leave you in stitches. What's going on, Andy?
Oh, a little bit of this and that. I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, minus all the furry implications of being such. And, just enjoying life. Really getting into things here or there. Don't know if you're into the same things or not.
Not quite as much as you are. See, typically, Andy, we start recording and everything at 7 o'clock, and you, my fine friend, decided, I'm going to take a nap before then. And I knew it. Yeah, that's right. We're peeling behind the curtain here. I'm peeling back the curtain. I knew you were going to oversleep. And he did. So here it is, 8:20. We're finally getting a recording. But we're here, right?
Yes, we're here. We're here. We're filling our 5-episode-a-year quota, and we are well on our way to achieve that number.
And more importantly, we didn't miss out last week because of any in particular reason, like someone just wasn't feeling up to it, or, even if he did give me a reason, I don't know it anyway because he never gave me one. But we didn't need a reason because last week we actually didn't record because Countdown to Geektown was releasing their 100th episode, and we didn't want to compete with them that week. So that's the real reason.
Like that's a competition.
Yeah, well, there is when, if there is, it's just in a different category than us. See, our competition is like one episode every, 3 or 4 months. Their competition is one episode every week. So they're on the weekly competition. We're on the, we're like the Special Olympics of podcasts.
About to say, I can't even think of another podcast that's like in our lane. Then again, I don't read anything that's not the New Yorker because I'm sophisticated.
In our lane. So anyway, let's get the show underway. We have so much to go over this fine evening.
We actually do, yeah.
We have a coworker quote of the day, 2 of them. We have a little talking point on the National Legging Day. We have This Week in Gaming History. We have clickbait news. We got it all this week. Am I missing something?
I want to briefly touch on the Olympics.
Andy wants to briefly touch on the Olympics. We got it all this week. It's going to be a great episode. So let's get right underway. And we will start with clickbait news, yeah?
Yeah, what everybody actually comes here for. We're not blind to it. Even I can see that.
So we have clickbait news. We have 2 Florida stories and a Texas story. So we're gonna make a sandwich here. We're gonna put Florida, Texas, Florida, that order. Plus, one of the Florida stories absolutely has to go last because it's just so good that it has to be saved to the end.
Oh, I mean that's kind of biased to our northern friends here because we could have an open face sandwich where it's just Texas, Florida, Florida.
Right. Well, most of our friends are from the South anyway, so.
Oh yeah, fair. All right. Fine, no open face conversational sandwich. We'll go with the traditional.
Yes. And what better way to start it than with a story about food as it is, and that's all I'm going to say because the rest is cool. Yeah, that's right. So can you tell me what did the Florida man do with a corn dog?
Because the first thing I think of is cornhole.
No, not corn.
No.
Legitimately a corn dog.
Okay, so legitimately a corn dog. Well, the first thing I think of is him finding a cornhole to put it in. But right. No. Let me see. Legitimately, I think he probably. I'm gonna say because it's Florida, he tried to rob a bank with it.
Tried to rob a bank with well, damn, you're close. He actually tried to hold up a gas station with it. Well, no, he actually didn't. Okay, so let me just read it. The headline is Corn Dog Poke Leads to Criminal Charges. So basically what happens is a man is behind bars after an argument at a gas station leads to a battery charge. TV20's Landon Harrer shows us what made the suspect go upset. We're not going to get into that. Friday, just after noon, deputies say Kevin McDaniel got angry at a gas station attendant because they would not sell him alcohol. And the
All right.
Marion County Sheriff's Office's public information officer explained, God, that's a title. They
Yeah,
would
right.
not sell him beer because of his anger. He lashed out and threw whatever he had in his hands, which apparently was hot dogs, and he had a corn dog stick, uh, Inch's hand, I guess in his hand, and he poked her in the face, causing a reddish injury to her eye. So I just want to point out real quick, we are actually doing this episode live on stream on twitch.tv/CarnageRazor1. And finally, people can see how shitty these articles are written. So, just wanted to say that. Anyway, now I lost my spot. The man did not flee the scene after his corn dog attack. In fact, he was still there on Friday when deputies arrived, where he was promptly arrested. They went on to explain, just because of how this was done, this is called simple battery, so it's not aggravated in nature, so because of the circumstances of this case, that is what he was charged with. This was also a violation of his probation. Big surprise. Currently, it is battery, touch, or strike, and also he violated his probation from Pasco County, which was battery. McDaniels is being held in Marion County Jail with no bond.
Simple battery. I assure you, there is nothing simple about poking somebody in the eye with a used corn dog stick. Although, what a weapon to have on you at any given moment. Just whatever he wants to, he just has.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many questions still here. First of all, how mad was he when he approached the counter to buy alcohol from a gas station in the first place? If she refused sale because he was too angry, I get his frustration. Yeah. I don't want the disposition of my mood to determine what I can and cannot buy. Like, if you just determine one day that when you take like a movie up to the counter and you are buying it too creepily, you're like, oh, we can't sell you that movie. You're being creepy right now. Like, what? No. This is my money. You have an item for sale. Gimme.
We had a deal.
Yeah, we had a deal. I brought it to you. You did the beep, and then I give you the money. Like, that's how this whole thing goes. Like, who cares? My disposition.
Yeah, I don't have to be nice to you.
Yeah, I don't have to be nice. Like, give me my shit.
I'll have the story too. Okay, so can you tell me, this is in Texas, can you tell me what the Texas man's argument was for his fourth DWI?
For his fourth DWI?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know you weren't allowed to do that.
No, that was 1, 2, and 3. Like Dave Chappelle reference. Yeah. After fourth DWI, man argues legal limit discriminates against alcoholics.
No. You don't say.
Oh my god, this one's great. So, after his fourth driving while intoxicated conviction in 2016, a San Antonio man tried to overturn his 4-year prison sentence by arguing that Texas's legal limit on intoxicated driving discriminates against alcoholics. Ralph Alfred Friesenhahn
There's a very Texas name.
Yeah, and I guarantee you that's the name they're going to repeat them by. Argued that the state's driving limit of 0.08 blood alcohol concentration ignores the higher tolerances that frequent drinkers have to the effects of liquor, allowing the, quote, protected class of alcoholics to be prosecuted without having to prove that they had lost control of their mental or physical abilities. The Austin-based Third Court of Appeals wasn't buying it, saying in an opinion issued Friday that state law does not unfairly single out alcoholics because it applies equally to all drivers. Friesenhahn, big surprise, not only failed to present evidence that alcoholics are a protected class under the Americans with Disability Acts or other federal law, he also failed to prove that the law treats alcoholics differently than other DWI defendants, said the opinion by Justice Cindy Olson Borland. Okay, last one was too long of a title. This one's too short of a title. Just Justice. Instead, he argues that they should be treated differently, and thus fails to establish an equal protection violation. The Justice wrote.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Friesenhahn was arrested after a single-car rollover accident along a rural Comal County Road south of New Braunfels. What's he in Germany? God, I thought this was Texas.
Right? Like that's the thing that's getting me. Like I'm just picturing this guy going, he's getting pulled over and he blows the .08 blood alcohol level. He's like, hey, this is discrimination.
You wish it was .08. So blood tests later indicated that he had an alcohol concentration of .29, more than 3.5 times the legal limit. His trial lawyer, Gina Jones of New Braunfels, moved to quash Freisenhand's indictment, arguing that the legal driving limit discriminated against alcoholics, but State District Judge Jack Robinson, there we go, denied the request. After Freisenhand was convicted of felony DWI because of his prior alcohol-related convictions, Jones made the same argument on appeal, leading to Friday's Third Court of Appeals. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, the lawyer went ahead with this, and this has got to be something like you just get the idea that you're sitting in your cell and you're like, oh, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll argue that the legal limit is unfair because I'm an alcoholic and I shouldn't be convicted of driving while under the influence because I'm better than a regular person doing it. But what? That is not your case. And a lawyer shouldn't hear you out and go, we can work that angle. No, Miss Gina, you can't work that out.
Miss Gina. Here's something I didn't know. Her
name was what, Gina?
Yeah, it was Gina something. I don't know. Here's something I didn't know, though. So I knew in 99, Texas moved the blood alcohol concentration of 0.1 to the current 0.08, a limit eventually adopted by every state. I knew that. But what I didn't know was the National Transportation Safety Board in 2013 recommended that states reduce the legal limit to 0.05.
Wow.
And actually, last year, Utah became the first state to cut its limit to 0.05 in a law that takes effect December 30th. I wonder if that's this year or at the end of last year.
I wonder, to be the guy, how many decimal places does the breathalyzer go to?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because if it goes 3 decimal places, imagine the guy that's just rolling the dice. He's like, all right, I've lived a good life, and blows into it, and he's like, 0.079. Like, all right, sir, drive safe. Like, yes.
That's a good point. Yeah, at what point is okay? So if it's exactly at 0.08, do they just? Well, you're going to jail. You're right at the legal limit, so time for jail. Get ready. Or if it's at 0.07, are they just like, yeah, we can't get you.
Yeah, you just sit there and go, it's like, well, you're not at the legal limit, but I advise that drinking and driving is a terrible practice. Like, yes, sir, officer, and I'm gonna leave here. I'm a lucky man. I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe another drink.
0.07. I doubt you're talking like that, unless you're
I would.
Yeah, of course you would. I was gonna say, unless you're like that asshole that just wants to act like that just to be himself. Andy. on to story 3. So, okay, the last final one, and the other Florida one that I said should definitely be the closing one. So, I need you to tell me, just tell me what the guy got arrested for at Wendy's.
Oh, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, I know, but to try to pinpoint it down, it would just be ridiculous. All
right. So a guy got arrested at Wendy's, and he probably got arrested because it wasn't an assassination attempt on a baby, was it?
No, what is this, Countdown to Geektown? Come on. I will say this much. It actually had something to do with the Wendy's establishment itself.
Oh, okay. So they were discriminating that they limited the amount of burgers to a guy that was fat.
No.
Oh.
Florida man arrested for reportedly tossing Gator into a Wendy's.
Just what?
Yeah, that's right.
Just has one of those lying around to do this?
Drive-through of all things. Just, yep, there it goes. Oh, Oh, God. A Jupiter, Florida man was arrested for throwing a live alligator into a Wendy's restaurant drive-thru east of someplace in Florida. Loxahatchee? Loxahatchee. Loxahatchee. Joshua
Loxahatchee.
James. Joshua James, 23, was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Illegally.
Well, it is a deadly weapon. Nature's weapon.
Illegally killing, possessing or capturing an alligator, and second-degree larceny, petty theft, according to Palm Beach Sheriff's Office.
Wait. Was it alive?
We're going to have to read further. He has not been released on bail as of Monday afternoon. They report that the incident occurred in October, but James had only been arrested recently. Okay.
Okay, yeah, right.
Officials with Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission told WPTV that James pulled up for his order, and after a server handed a drink and turned around, James tossed the 3.5-foot gator into the drive-thru window. It doesn't say anything further.
Huh. Because it said one of the charges he got was by illegally capturing and killing, and I assume, so it was dead when he tossed it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Huh.
It doesn't specify, but the dude looks a lot like Eli Manning. Look at this.
Wow. He actually looks like a guy I work with.
Okay, that's a little creepy. Let's get rid of that. In fact.
Weird.
There's clickbait news.
No, hold on. Like, can you even begin to rationalize? There you go. Rationalize the man's, necessity to do this. Like, was this premeditated? Did he have an urge to just throw a gator into a Wendy's?
I mean, he had to have, right? Because unless he was like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. He probably grabbed the gator, put it into his truck. Maybe he killed it. Maybe it's still alive. We don't know. Either way, he was hungry, in the mood for some Baconators, stopped at the Wendy's, grabbed a Baconator or two, and ordered it at least. And when the lady went to go get his Frosty or drink, whatever, he was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Let me just toss this in here and just try to restart.
See, I was thinking it was one of those things where he's like, like he got, like there were some hiccups getting his order. Like he had to repeat himself, and maybe she she did the wrong thing at first and had to correct it. And he's like, you know what? I was saving this gator to throw at my girlfriend's house, but this Wendy's is pissing me off.
I ordered a chocolate Frosty, and this clearly gave me a freaking vanilla one. I'm pissed off. In with the gator it goes. What do I look like drinking a vanilla Frosty? This is nonsense. You think I'm racist just because I'm in Florida and I have to have the white Frosty. That's what you thought, wasn't it? Well, you're wrong. You're wrong, and this gator's going to show you so.
Some of my favorite ice cream is chocolate.
Yeah. All right. So on to the next segment. I guess we can go right into so this is something we haven't done in a while. We used to do this pretty often. Coworker quote of the day. It's so funny because me and Andy both had one this week, and we're excited to share them. So
yeah, like we haven't done it in a while, and it's just like, oh, that's out of nowhere.
This is kind of funny, but mine is actually I feel like mine's going to be easier, so I'm just going to go with mine first. And okay. It's funny that I say that because the quote is actually, mine is easy, EJD, eat juicy dick.
I feel like there's a lot of context missing here.
Honestly, we were discussing how we remember our license plate numbers.
Oh.
But even still, does that change anything? Because that just means that it's no longer spontaneous. Now they're constantly thinking of eating juicy dick.
Right? Like, I mean, mine is usually easy to remember just because it's got ELP on it.
I was going to say, we are putting this on the internet. Let's be careful.
I know, that's what I was thinking about too, but I'm like, the rest of it they don't know. But ELP, so it's just like, my car is like a help note. It's just like, help, being kidnapped.
Uh,
Yeah,
I mean,
wow, okay.
technically anyone in your car should be thinking that. Andy is like, he needs to be blind. Like, he's not blind, but he should be. He can't see.
Not blind, but he should be. You dick. And you should be thin, but that'll never happen. Give your heart a break.
Okay.
Jeez. All right. No. So the one I got was it was a conversation that people were having in the break room, and like the one guy was just like he tells the other person, he's like, oh yeah, I saw this guy. He's got more tattoos than skin. Like, but no, that's not how that works. Like you need to have skin to have tattoos.
You can have 80% of your body be tattoos, but 100 of it's still going to be skin.
Yeah,
no
it's
matter
still
what.
going to be skin. Part of the prerequisite to getting a tattoo is having skin.
Well, no, they can do it in the eyeballs now.
No.
Yes, I've seen this. I mean, I shouldn't say that I've seen it, but I have heard of it, and I think I've seen it on a TV show once, which means it has to be true. Because it wasn't like some crazy TV show. It was like one of those Law and Order CSI type deals. Like, it has to be true, right?
What in the world would you get tattooed on your eyeball?
Just like colors, like different. So your eyeball itself is no longer white, but like a neon blue or something like that.
That is weird.
Looked kind of cool at the time, but I don't know how much party I have in my entire life to make it relevant. You know what I mean? Like, it's permanent.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool in your 20s, maybe even into your early 30s, but once you're 60, you're not raving anymore.
No, and that'll be the weird thing is that you get like, you get that moment where like the nurses are talking about you. It'd be like, oh, which patient was that? It's like, oh, that's Mr. Blue Eyes over there. Like, oh, right.
I don't think he understands how contacts are supposed to work.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, poor bastard. He just glued in his contacts one day and they just stuck that way.
So other than that, I also have. Well, let's go right into This Week in Gaming History.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, no argument.
So it's February, people, and I think I've explained this before, but like there is a slump after the holidays hit. January, February, and even a little bit of March, there's just nothing. It's always been that way for as long as I can remember. So it's very hard to find game releases that have happened, historical game releases that have happened during this month. Hence the reason we didn't really have this segment much at all this month. But it's back this week because I found a few gems. Not many, but I found a few.
I must say I had to go digging for those.
I did. First of all, HAL Laboratory Incorporated was born on this day, actually, in 1980.
Oh.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That long ago? So what did they do before Smash Brothers?
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I didn't go as far in as to do that, and I didn't do that much homework, but I did enough to see that they were, born this day. That's good enough, right?
Weird.
Right, but I mean, Smash Brothers is their bread and butter, obviously. Like, what the hell else did they do? Have they done anything since Smash Brothers would be my other question. But this is stuff we'll never know because it's not like we have a unlimited resource of information in front of us.
True. Anything else?
Of course. So I also have, this was an interesting one. The Famicom Disk System was released today. That was the add-on to the Famicom, which is the NES in Japan.
Okay.
It was like they had, I believe, like floppy disk that they put in, and it was supposed to run a lot smoother and be easier with like save files and stuff like that. Obviously, it never took off, but this came out in 1986 in Japan. So I think this was right after or right before the NES launched in America. Yeah, so, and then they had like a plethora of basic games, Legend of Zelda, Mario, I think even Metroid was on there, so stuff like that, and Metroid would have definitely benefited from the whole save system, and so would Zelda. Mario, maybe not. But, yeah, so that was a thing. Other than that, I have Star Fox, released today in Japan for the first time, in 1993 on the SNES. That obviously sparked a wave of success with that game, the Star Fox 64, the Smash Brother characters, the few people that like the GameCube game. What was it, Star Fox Adventures or something like that?
Yeah, Star Fox Adventures.
And then, out of nowhere, they're just like, you know what? We're going to give you guys Star Fox 2, the thing that we made, a billion years ago, but never released for whatever reason, with the SNES Classic, which I thought was so freaking cool. So there was that. I didn't like it, however, but it was a neat idea.
Yeah, like it was one of those things where we're playing it, like you kind of realize why it wasn't released.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like they really changed the whole format of it and everything. It's just like, what did they do to this game?
Well, and that's weird because I wonder if Star Fox is only popular because of the time. It was just the gimmick of showing off what the hardware could do, and that's it.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know Star Fox until the Nintendo 64 game.
Really?
Like, that just went under my radar when I had it. Because I had an SNES, and I was huge on all the big games. Like, Super Metroid's still one of my favorite games of all time. Same with Link to the Past. I had Donkey Kong Country. I had Killer Instinct. I had Super Mario World. Like, all the big names. Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, had that. All those games I had. And I loved them all. But Star Fox, just never. Mega Man X, Kirby, like, all the big... If you think of a big Super Nintendo game, I had it. Just not Star Fox.
Battletoads and Double Dragon.
Of course I had Battletoads and Double Dragon. I love that game. Well, okay, so I may not have owned that one, but I definitely rented it, which was a thing back in the day, kids.
Yeah, right?
And that's the thing. Like, I never even went as far to rent Star Fox. I knew nothing of this game when it was released on the N64. And then I was at a friend's house one day, and I seen it there, and I was just like, oh my god, what is this game? And he was like, oh, this is Star Fox. I'm like, this is incredible.
I never got big into it, man. It was just like, okay, so you have the anthropomorphic animals in the ship that kind of looks like, somebody had, triangle napkins they were trying to put together at the dinner table just to ignore Grandma's story about how things used to be harder in her day. And, you got to shoot like little pew-pew lasers around that.
Yeah.
And you would bang off of the other ships like somebody was throwing like one of those little like a tiny like miniaturized pinball like at a metal surface. It was just like tink tink tink, and like you just heard that effect over and over and over again. Like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Why does my laser not work on this part of the ship, but it does on this glowy part of the ship? Like, weak points are stupid in this concept. Like, it was just bad. I only liked it because of the way it looked. The gameplay itself did not appeal to me, and that's the truth for like all the Star Fox games that I played.
Yeah, I mean, to this day, Super Nintendo 1 is just boring to me, but the N64 one is pretty great. But okay, let's move on. Star Fox is released today. Well, not today, this week, 93 actually. Next up, I have a game that was kind of near and dear to my heart, Eternal Champions for the Sega Genesis.
Never played it.
Okay, it was a fighting game. I used to play the crap out of this game. It wasn't exactly one of the best ones, but I loved it. It's a little bit of a hidden gem. Anyway, it wasn't even released in America this week. It was released in Japan in '94, but I had to make mention of it just in case you heard of it. And last but not least, oh my god, this game, another one I had on Super Nintendo, 1995 NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Ha!
Oh man, still to this day am loving parts of this game because I currently play a video game called Mutant Football League, which you can find me stream every Tuesday, Monday, and Thursday on 6:30 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, I played a crap out of this game. I played a crap out of NBA Jam back in the day. Both of them voiced and commentated by the legendary Tim Kitzrow, who is awesome at what he does. He's hysterical. He's just a voice actor that does like a lot of sports commentating with arcade sports games. This is the game that revolutionized that. He was kind of the guy that's known as the boom shakalaka guy, or the he's heating up, he's on fire, all that stuff. This is the game that had that. But anyway, yeah, so I had to make mention of that. But that is this week's in gaming history. I swear, no more gaming stuff. We're done, guys.
Oh.
Unless you count the Olympics, which we're not going into just yet, because next we have a little segment I wanted to touch on. It is National Leggings Day.
Yeah, which I cannot believe that's a thing. So how long has leggings been a thing now?
Okay, so here's what I want to know. Since when was it okay for? I mean, I don't want to just categorize an entire gender here, but I'm going to anyway. When was it okay for females to just be like, you know what? We're going to take this word and we're going to make it something of our own.
I mean, they do that all the time, but
Fair. But like my wife came up to me before. I mean, this is probably way before we were married, and she said,
I mean, she only came up to your chest, but
she's very short. She said something to the extent of like, "Oh, I have to find leggings to match my new dress." And I'm like, "Leggings? What are you going into battle or something?" Like to me, leggings, and I have a definition for you here. Legging, noun, a covering for the leg, usually extending from the ankle to the knee, but sometimes higher, worn by soldiers, riders, workers, etc. So where in that does it say stretchy, tight, comfy pants that, obviously show off the curves of a woman's body? Or sometimes men in Walmart, according to Andy.
Sometimes, and it's just weird. It really is.
All of a sudden, that God bless the man that came up with the idea for yoga pants. It just goes right out the window.
Yeah, because, I mean, you should not be getting that good. Like, I know people. One of the weirdest things I've ever saw was glasses that you could buy that is supposed to make the world in HD, and like it's life, right? Yeah. It's life, so it's already in HD. But I digress. You get a full face full of HD if a guy in leggings is bending over to get something off a counter, and you got just wall to wall moose knuckles staring back at you.
Wall to wall moose knuckles.
Yeah, with a tasteful like SpongeBob SquarePants covering over it, because what guy isn't attractive wearing SpongeBob leggings? Like, I've heard of chicks going out of the house wearing their like boyfriend or significant other's shirt, but a guy is like, oh, I can't find pants. Oh, I know, I'll just wear my girlfriend's leggings. Like, what? No, that is not an option, and certainly not an option to go to Walmart.
Yeah, that's gross.
At all.
But I'm just, it's fascinating to me because it's like, they just took the definition of the word and ran with it and just completely. I mean, the only way they could have made this more further from what the original definition was, while still kind of staying relevant, was if they wore it on their arms. Like, to me, leggings are a part of like armor or some sort of protection that you're wearing, not like paper. Shut up! Not paper thin. Like, shut up, Andy. Has nothing to do with me being a gamer. I just paid attention to history class, okay?
Yeah, nothing to do with the RPGs that you're like, all right, well, what kind of leggings did I get?
I always called those pants, okay? You have no proof of otherwise.
I mean, there's got to be a picture of that. I would. Internet, don't disappoint me. There's got to be a picture of a medieval knight in leggings, and they just Photoshop, like, tasteful character leggings onto it.
Well, let's find out. No, not really.
Oh.
This guy kind of looks like an owl. I mean, maybe, but not enough time for me to search.
Fair. Fine. It's not like I would be able to enjoy it too much anyway.
Yeah. You know what's interesting with this whole Twitch thing? I don't think we can do subreddit roulette anymore.
Oh no.
Not that we could do it since you've been married anyway, but
right. I mean, we could probably pre-game it with that. But it would have to be on the hush.
On the hush. Okay. But anyway, that's all I got for the week. I know you wanted to touch a bit on Olympics, so what do you got for me?
It's just like some of the Olympic sports are fascinating to me, plus the concept of the Olympics. So, I mean, have you ever watched the Olympics, like, during the course of its history?
Absolutely. So, in the 90s, I was huge into basketball, and the Dream Team was just like, oh my God, that was the thing to watch as a basketball fan in the 90s. So, especially, the first time around, and they made a comeback and everything, and It was great. The Dream Team was always awesome in basketball. But then you fast forward to Winter Olympics, and you had hockey, U.S. men's hockey, or U.S. not necessarily U.S. but just men's hockey in general, because that was the beauty of it. You go to hockey, and as an NHL fan, you literally have hockey teams around the world that you're cheering for, because just because your favorite player plays for the New Jersey Devils doesn't mean he's going to play for the America team in the Olympics because he's Czechoslovakian. So he's going to play for the Czech Republic. Thank you, Patrick Elias. Anyway. Right. So
Words.
I did watch the Olympics. The Dream Team is obviously no longer a thing. And as far as NHL hockey goes, they no longer allow NHL players to be in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, which I always thought was weird too. That but these guys play hockey professionally. Why wouldn't you let them on the Olympic team?
Right.
But I digress. So, some of the idea that you have every 4 years you get together for every country to have its representatives play in competitions against each other, and I'm like, that would be neat if the competitions weren't so Japanese game show weird. Like. Like, some of these things, I'm like, why is this even an Olympic sport? Because, I heard people bad-mouthing that, people are bringing up the concept that the Olympics is going to be hosting esports at some point in the future. Yes. And they're like, oh, well, that's not really sports. And I'm like, well, are you looking what you're advertising? Because some of this isn't really sports. Like curling, for example.
I knew it. I knew you were going to get into curling. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
So curling, I'm looking at it, and this is one of the weirdest things. And the only reason I even looked up from my table at work was because these people were yelling at the curling iron. I don't know what it is.
I'm not going to act like I know what it is either. But are you saying the people you work with were yelling?
No. The people on the TV that were on the Olympic team were yelling at it, and they were clearing a path for it like it was royalty. And I didn't see the actual bowler, I guess is what they're called, throw it. The only thing that I saw was it going down the lane towards a target, which, I mean, when I see that target, I think first, Pilot Wings, when you're supposed to, parachute onto it.
More video games.
Something, yeah, something is supposed to come from the angle that the target is in. So they should be dropping these things onto this target, not scooting them on there. I feel like that's cheating. But then you have the concept of, these people are clearing the way for it and yelling at it, and getting it to the target, and then try to get it in the horseshoe style. I've never seen this game played other than watching that brief moment in the Olympics, and I'm like, I have so many questions.
My question is, if I can interrupt you for just a second here.
Yeah.
At what point in your life do you go, I know what I want to be with the rest of my life? What point in your life are you just like, I want to do curling? I've had enough, and I think I want to do curling.
Yeah, and it's not even played in roughly enough, it's not played enough anywhere that I can think of to where you could be you stumble upon it one day while at a local, convention center or something like that, and you're like, oh, what is this magical thing? I have to be a part of this.
And that's exactly it. I know people that will go their whole lives without playing the sport, ever. I mean, I also know people that will go their whole lives without playing any sport, ever. I'm talking to one. But I'm just saying, curling is not exactly basketball or baseball or hockey or football or any of those, not even soccer. You play those things as a kid, whether if it's organized or just as a kid in a neighborhood or whatever. You're not picking up, chalk and marking circles or whatever it is they aim for, and then taking some sort of, I don't know, slidey thing and waxing a path for it. You're not doing that. It's not happening. So how do you get good in this game? How do you get good enough to be I'm going for the Olympics? And how do you even become introduced to the sport enough to be I want to try it? Because as far as I'm concerned, the only place to do it is in the Olympics. So it's you see it on the Olympics and you go, okay, I want to do that. So do I just go right to, hi, Olympics, I'd like to sign up?
Yeah, where is the recruitment office for the USA curling team?
Seriously.
Because I guarantee you, no matter where it is, it's wall to wall and cobwebs. So.
And I know this has probably been talked about and done to death, but it's something that I would like to know. Like, just how do you do it? How does one get into it? Like, how old are you when you realize you're going to become like you're playing basketball as a kid, right? And you get a little bit of games and experience under you, whatever, and all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, I'm kind of good. Let me take on this guy. He's a buddy of mine that I know is good, so let me take him on. And you beat him, and you play him again, and you beat him every time you play him. So eventually he's saying, wow, you're pretty good. Maybe you should play this guy. I know he's really good. I could never beat him. And you play that guy, and you beat that guy in basketball, and now it's like you're beating all the neighborhood kids in basketball. Maybe I should take it up to the next level. How do you do that in curling? Like, what other people are you going against in curling that is just like, I'm so good at this game that I want to go on to the next level until eventually you get to the Olympics.
Well, and that's the weird part, is that not only do you have to have interest in it, you have to find two other people to be a team to have interest in it.
That's exactly. And furthermore than that, like, you have to find two other people. I'm assuming it's 3 total. You have to find other people to be a team that want to be different positions than what you're doing.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you have to find 3 other weirdos that like this game enough to actually play a game against.
And then another 3 weirdos to determine who is the best between the first 2 teams.
Yeah, it just boggles my mind. And the other thing that boggles my mind is how in the world, how does any team beat Mexico in that sport?
Oh,
like,
God. I knew it. I knew it was going to come down to that. Like, I knew there was going to get a racist joke somewhere in there. Way to go, Andy.
You're welcome. But honestly, like, if the whole point of it is that you have to throw something and then clean its path before it gets to where it has to go, you can't beat Team Mexico. you just can't.
Oh, God.
But it's funny, too, like, some of the other sports they had on there was, like, there's one that I don't even know what it's officially called. I just call it falling. But that's all it is you have people in skis that are on the top of a ramp, and they fit their skis into this little like trenchway, and they follow the trenchway down the ramp until they come off of a slope. And it's not like it's curled like like a jump ramp. This is an Evel Knievel style things going on. It just drops. It just stops being a path for them to fall down, and it just like free fall from the air. And from that point, they spread their legs like it's like squirrel wings, and they're trying to make their way as far up as possible to an invisible bright green line that I assume is added after the fact to be the goal line. That all right, you have to land here, and then they just land it, and that's it. That is the quote unquote sport. The real star of this sport is gravity, because without it, because you're not pushing yourself under your own power, and you're not like, it's not like gymnastics where you have to like do spins and push yourself off the ground in order to get enough height to do what you got to do and then land. You are literally just having somebody remove the latch on the front of your skis, and you're falling. And that's another thing that blows my mind, is like, how do you fall at the Olympic level?
When do you realize you're good enough to fall at the Olympic level?
And I even remember hearing the commentators, because they're like, somebody had like apparently a good fall, and they're like, oh, that was an excellent run. I'm like, was it? How do you know? Like, because like looking at all the teams, they're all roughly the same distance. Well, go figure. They're going down the same ramp with the same skis. Of course they're going to be at the same distance. Why is this a sport?
Why is it a sport indeed? I don't know. I mean, you can make the same argument for some of the Summer Olympics. We won't get too much into it, but like water polo and stuff like that, it's like, come on, guys.
And there's even the Olympic sport where I mean, it's pretty tasteless actually, considering that the shootings recently.
But no, I'm stopping you right there. Shut up, Andy. Shut up. No more. Let's name this done. Let's name this thing. We're done. God. You go live one time. You do a live show one time. Oh, unedited, huh? I'm going to use this to my advantage. No.
Oh, you know me.
So I have Gator tossing corn dogs.
Yeah, okay.
It's just as a title. I don't know. People are going to see how terrible we are actually naming these things now.
Oh, right, yeah, 'cause we're doing it live. Crap. Oh, I should have come better prepared than this.
Fourth time's the charm.
Crap. Yeah, no, I had something in it, and it left me.
Equip thy leggings and corn dog.
I mean, I guess we could just call it legging day, but that just seems lazy, because it is.
Legging discrimination.
Gator curling.
Gator curling.
Yeah, that's a good toss right there.
How about Olympic Gator curling?
Olympic Gator curling. Yeah, I like it.
That will do it for this week's episode of the Side Splitters. Episode number 67.
Good stall.
Olympic Gator curling. My name is Lyle.
And my name was Andy.
It was?
Was.
See you next week, folks.
Later. Bye.